Ladies and gentlemen,
well, these are the scenes in Falun after another extraordinary race. The women's skiathlon won by Therese Johaug, who got her first World Championship gold in Oslo in 2011. That was the race of the championships. She may just have done the same again here in Falun. Phenomenal effort from the woman who climbs hills better than anyone else. Great to see Sweden back on the podium. Charlotte Kalla with another fantastic effort. Just didn't have her in the legs on that Mörderbacken for the third time in the skate. Great tactics from Johaug, and what determination from Jakobsen. First shone back in 2005 in Oberstdorf. Today she gets a very, very precious silver medal with a good sprint to take the silver away from Kalla. But Johaug in a class of her own in the absence of a fit Marit Bjørgen. Well, just a few final shots of Therese Johaug on that finishing straight. The gold medal was already won at this stage. A mixture of agony and ecstasy written all over her face. This the sprint for the silver and bronze, and Jakobsen of Norway coming out on top to put Norway on top of the medal table with 3 golds already. Now we'll just hear the sprint event from 2 days ago. Well, welcome back to Falun, of course. The day goes on. The first medal decided, and what a victory it was for Therese Johaug in the women's skiathlon. Now it is the turn of the men, and 7.5 kilometers for the women for the classic. It's twice that distance for the men. And the Swedish fans hoping that maybe they can get success today. Petter Northug, of course, the winner of the gold medal in the sprint event. But will that sprint effort have taken too much out of him? Will it go in favour of Colonia, who is not only the Olympic champion, he's also the world champion? Let's have a chat again to Per Elofsson.
Snart dags för herrarnas skiathlon, och Per, det har ju blivit mer och mer.
So says Robert, it's time for the skiathlon. More and more tactics to think about, 2 different styles, same distances. What are the skiers thinking right now? Well, Per says that depends on what type of ski you are, whether you're a good classic skier or whether you're a freestyle skier. And you'll try and utilise your strengths. It also depends on whether you're a sprinter or a long-distance racer. So, horses for courses, I guess, is the answer to that question. And we will find out as the race unfolds who decides to go early.
Och vi kommer att få se åkare som tar chansen på att spara så mycket som möjligt till det de är bäst.
We see skiers trying to keep a high pace, and a lot of them sticking in the pack, like Petter Northug, waiting, saving their energy. Per says, yeah, Petter's good at both things. He's got a high physical capacity, he's brilliant tactically, and he won't waste any more energy than he has to. He will, of course, decide to wait until the last couple of 100 metres, says Per, in his bid for glory. Asking Per what he thought when he won the skiathlon back in 2003. Per says his best attribute was out on the track. He knew he had to finish everyone off before he came back into the stadium. And he thinks he did an okay job. He did a fantastic job on that occasion. So we're ready to go. It's the skiathlon coming up in just a few minutes' time, 4 minutes or so before the start of this second gold medal event of the day. Norway have now moved on to 3 gold medals, but the third one coming from Therese Johaug rather than Marit Bjørgen. Well, it's been a short break for our commentators in Sweden. Time now to hand over to them, Mike Dixon and David Goldström.
Thank you, Patrick, and I can tell you that the 54,000 spectators here, they just haven't gone anywhere. The race earlier was an amazing race, and I think we're in for much of the same coming up very soon. We're just going for a quick break, but back with you in about a minute's time. Out there. Well, welcome everybody. The start line for the World Championships Skiathlon, 30 kilometers. Is this the man who can do it again? He believes he can. Doesn't have to give much away except a little punch to the chest. He believes he can. Yevgeny Belov, a fantastic season so far. Dropped form recently, but third place in the Tour de Ski. He has it all. He has the finish pace. He's good in classic, good in freestyle. Daria Kolonya, the Olympic champion. Steely cool, shows little emotion and lets his skiing speak for itself. Then we have the Swedes, hopefully inspired from earlier today in Charlotte Kala's performance, but a lot of pressure for Kalle Halvorsen. He's got a good turn of pace at the finish, and in the men's race that is so needed. Niklas Dierhaug just brought into this race really at the last minute, and often athletes who've been brought in at the later stages feel less pressure, but he's certainly good in the classic and the freestyle. So Kolonya in Val di Fiemme took this title. At the Olympic Games he took this title, and there he is in black to the left of our screen. Northug taking the title in Oslo 2011 and also 2009 in Liberec. The athletes on the line, ready for the starter to give them the final countdown, and nervous moments. Well, the favourite in this race is Northug, probably because of his finishing speed. The bookmakers' favourite, with Kolonya second at 9-2. But we'll have to wait and see how it unfolds on the track. Very warm conditions, often making it much more difficult in technical terms, especially when it comes to the freestyle. You push into the snow, and of course Hellner, a former winner in this race, and it was the Olympic Games in Vancouver. Well, they're off, so this field packed with so many potential winners. It really is about strategy. 66 athletes underway. It's a 5-kilometer track in the classic, which they must undertake 3 times. And very important when there's 66 of you starting together, that you try to build some space, some breathing space early on to try and find your rhythm. And I think this race, unlike the women's race earlier, clearly it's twice the distance. So we're not going to quite see the early attacks. And I think it'll be a reasonably settled pace for the first, certainly 5 minutes, as the athletes warm up into their stride. The action, the sparks will fly later. But I'm sure this course, it's not in my opinion, I went around this course a number of times yesterday. Yes, in terms of total climb, it's up there with World Championship courses, but a lot of that climb comes in one single hit. Morterbakken, 67 meters of climb over about 400 or 500 meters, so you get all that climbing done in a oneer. The rest of the track, as we can see here, is not that testing. And because of this strange profile, I think we'll have a huge number of athletes together, possibly through as far as 28 kilometers, possibly more. So just at the start then, everybody finding their way. I haven't seen any issues with the grip wax, which you need for this classic skiing, giving any problems. And Petter Northug, surely this will be the, unless it's the final 20 meters, this will be one of the few times he'll lead this race. The Finns, I think today will be strong. We've got Matti Häkkinen, there he is, bib number 10, and closer to us, Iivo Niskanen. And he's proved himself in the classic technique, 4th place at the Olympic Games. And he makes it look so easy. Junior world champion. The pace is quite easy at this stage, and clearly he's finding it well within himself. Almost surprised that he doesn't have more people, more athletes around him. 29, French contingent is very strong, and Backscheider, he's the French champion from end of March last year as a young athlete. And the British skier Andrew Musgrave. Well, He's shown his cards this season, a 15th place, a 13th place in a classic race. He's improved very much in his classic. And I think a contender today, certainly for a top 10, and hopefully for better. Well, nearly 3 minutes underway, and as you can see, the profile is just gently rolling. It's nothing extreme yet. That will change. And already the tail enders beginning to struggle with a fairly pedestrian pace. Here's the coaches. There are zones where the coaches are allowed to give advice, they're allowed to give drink. And I think in these warm temperatures, now 5 degrees warm, the athletes will be taking on a number of drink stops. 13.3 kilometers an hour, reducing as they get up this climb. And we're managing to get from the GPS the speed readings at this particular moment. So 12, 13 kilometers an hour. It's certainly not fast when the average pace of this race will be about 26 kilometers an hour. Leivo Niskanen leading the way in the early stages. Pierre Harvey, well, he proved to the world with a silver medal in the sprint competition that he can finish the races. He so nearly challenged Petter Northug, left it a little late to come out of his slipstream, and so nearly got him on the final stride. And certainly one of my favorites today is Alex Harvey. His father having won twice on these tracks in his racing career, and I was there on that day, one of his times, and that was mid-late 80s. So nothing, no sparks, no dynamic pace, no breakaways yet. And have a look at your favourites. Number of big names not taking part for the German team. Tim Schank deciding to step out of this one to save himself for tomorrow's competition. So Leivo Niskanen, Alex Harvey, Petter Northug. Good to see an aerial view of the tracks in the tuck position now, so a gentle downhill section and beautiful terrain here. You really feel that you are out in the forest with all these trees around you. Often we get some tracks where you can see all around the tracks, and I like it. The athletes like it, feel that they are in the forest, in the countryside. But then they'll meet up with, very soon, the 54,000 people in the stadium area ready to greet them. Well, a chance to see some of the favourites and how the athletes' skis are gliding. It's a big factor. If you imagine your glide speed not equal to, say, the fastest at all points on the course and course profile, it makes life a little harder for you. Didrik Tønseth, fourth here on the 11th of January. There's an FIS Cup race where many big names did come to. He was fourth on that occasion, less than 2 seconds behind, so he's got the skills in the classic, in the freestyle. And another aspect of this race, you get a lot of these long recovery sections, so later when the steep climbs, in fact one of the 2 steep climbs coming up soon, we'll see a lot of pace change. The athletes will be able to attack these climbs with absolute pace because there is a lot of recovery time. If we think back to Val di Fiemme, continually climbing, descending, climbing, descending. This course is undulating, gentle undulation, and then 2 huge climbs. Lejanin showing his early pace and winning the only skiathlon we've had this season in Rybinsk. At that time there were 6 of the Russians in the top 10. Well, we won't be seeing 6 of them in the top 10 because at World Championships you can only enter your 4 athletes, and if the reigning champion is still around you can also enter him in, so that nation can add a 5th athlete. Kalle Halvorsen up front. Let's be honest, the pace has not picked up, and as expected, 30 kilometers journey, there's plenty time for that to happen, but it has separated some 27, 32 athletes, and then the rest. Well, you can hear the noise in the stadium just building up as the athletes make their way into this very compact stadium area. So the big names at the front. Welcome back to the Skiathlon 30 kilometers here in Falun, the World Championships. And a little bit of posturing, a number of athletes having led the way. Alex Harvey was up the front, Petter Northug was up the front for about 15 seconds. He does not like leading. Often when you're leading, it doesn't give you the biggest advantage when athletes can tuck in behind you on the descents. And the fastest descent here on this track profile, they'll be getting up to around 50 kilometers an hour. So Kalle Halvorsen just beginning to test the rest of the field. The first of the two climbs, there's Andrew Musgrave, looking very strong. He has shown great strength this season. Roy Young and his backup team here supporting him. 3 wax men, physios, so a good backup team indeed for Andrew, as you would expect at the World Championships, and a top-class performer. Well, you can see the separations. Well, some 40 athletes within 10 seconds, and then further back we're now getting quite a separation from the top 40 to the rest. Well, the flags on the right, it's mostly Swedish, some Norwegians. And here they are, just slowly. You can feel this race just building momentum. Got Kalle Halvorsen testing out the pace of those around him at the front. Alongside him, it's Niklas Dierhaug, looking comfortable, looking easy. Alex Harvey, he's been there or thereabouts for all of the first 10 minutes. Leivo Niskanen, classic specialist. Now this gradient, nothing too testing, probably about 8 degrees, 8%, so no major test. Some double pulling with single leg kicking. Kalle Halvorsen showing us that, where you compress one leg, get the grip of the skis onto the snow, and then use your arms to keep that momentum going. 11 there in the middle. Ovchensev. His skating maybe at the moment is lacking. He was 2 minutes 12 behind last Sunday in the 15-kilometer in Östersund World Cup. And that's quite some margin to find. But a lot of the athletes going into last weekend's race in Östersund, the warm-up at the end of very heavy training, and then resting up, having easy training for 5 or 6 days, and that really does recharge. So who knows? It's an indicator, but it's not an exact science. Again, through the undulations in Falun, slowly making their way to the stadium area, and I'm sure we'll hear a massive cheer. The bridges here have been, and badly needed to be. We've seen some bottlenecks happening on these bridges over the years, so they've been extended by some 3-4 meters to make sure there's plenty space. And as expected in the skiathlons, in the men's race especially, we're going to see a pack of 30-40 athletes for most part of this race. So into the stadium, that's their journey, that's their 5 kilometers nearly completed, and look at the time, that's only 12:24, and still a little bit to go up over the bridge, turn to the right, then back into the passage, if you like, where the third time around they'll unclip from their classic skis, their shorter classic poles, clip into their shorter skis and their longer poles for the freestyle 15 kilometers. But another 2 laps of the 5-kilometer track to go. This is another one of the coaching zones for advice, but how you can hear in this stadium, I don't know. But certainly an opportunity to pick up their drinks, the specialized drinks of choice. Some will want an isotonic drink, some will want well, their own personal drink. 22 deciding to take the pace, that's Lars Nelson. 9th in Sochi in this race, and he only backed off on the pace there towards the very end in Sochi. Not a finisher. Has he worked on that finish pace, or is he deciding to go and try and break this field early? It would be a brave strategy. 43, you can just maybe saw Sintsov from Bulgaria slipping. His wax clearly not working as well as on some of the athletes' skis. And largely a lot of this wax preparation, getting it just right, is down to a team of technicians. Bulgaria, Sintsov doesn't have that kind of backup. Possibly did some of the preparation himself. The bigger teams, 13 wax technicians. 700 pairs of skis within the team. And each team only racing 4 athletes here. But of course the women's race earlier, so preparation for 8 athletes. Now this is a decisive moment for Lars Nilsson. Deciding that the pace was too slow. He's trying to open it up early. Halvorsen not reacting. Marcus Hellner for the first time moving his way to the front. And all the while, Petter Northug, the favourite, just happily, easily, bib number 4 in his usual slot in skiathlons between position 15 and 20. 17 alongside is Jean-Marc Gaillard. When it comes to long distance, that name stands out, Jean-Marc Gaillard, and he's certainly putting in an attempt here to increase the pace substantially. Nilsson behind him, looking very comfortable. Double pulling, always an indicator that it's gently up terrain or gently down terrain. Coming up to 6.5 kilometers. So 15 minutes of action, and the pack is settled. Except for Jean-Marc Gaillard, unsettled, uncomfortable in the pedestrian pace behind him, and he's making a decisive move here. It's an awful long way out to make a break with almost 6 kilometers completed, and only one man deciding that this is a threat. 13 seconds is substantial, but the pack are not reacting. Belov on the right, best of the Russians at the moment. 24 just looking comfortable. Jonas Baumann from Splugen in Switzerland. Lovely place. Petter Northug, big number 4. He's going to pick up a drink. I think each rotation, so 5 kilometers, the athletes will certainly pick up 1 drink. It's about a 12-13 minute period. And very sensible in these warm temperatures. So nearly 17 minutes. Now you can sense the chasing pack beginning to chase more than they have been. The pace is beginning to pick up. That looks like Poltarainen. It is Aleksi Poltarainen. Well, Poltarainen's strength, he's won a World Cup this season already. His strength is the classic technique, a little weaker in the freestyle. So I'm surprised in a sense that Poltarainen isn't reacting to the break from Jean-Marc Gaillard. And the pack is settled. They've got their eye, they're able to see what's happening ahead of them. But without a doubt, you can feel the intensity that Jean-Marc Gaillard is giving. He's having a look back, he's sensing the pack are beginning to react, so he's trying to increase again the pace. 12 beginning to turn Seth, realizing that he's not going to let this happen, and he's leading this pack in. You can see the separation, the pace is picking up. 32, Jonas Dobler from Germany, and Florian Nott, bib number 25, 2 of the Germans up front. Well, we're going to take a very quick break. As you can see, Nilsson's skis gliding a little faster than the Frenchman, so back shortly to pick up on the action. Welcome back. I can tell you in the break we've seen another turn of pace at the front, but as you can see, the separation now in the pack, it has reacted, realizing that they need to manage this break. They cannot allow a greater gap than, say, 20 seconds, and it was closing into 20 seconds with a 17-second break. Alex Harvey deciding to take the pace on alongside Polterainen. Heikkinen's up there as well. Niskanen. And there we have Dobler and Notz, Florian Notz, the German, showing some strength. So Alex Harvey 12 seconds down at last point of reading. Hellner 15 seconds back, but in 9th place. So they're covering, without a doubt, covering this potential for a large break. And I think we've seen as this skiathlon has progressed over the years that sometimes the pack has been caught almost sleeping, not expecting an athlete to break. Johan Olsen did that at the Olympic Games in Vancouver, and he so nearly got away to take the gold, but they hauled him back. Eventually he survived and took the bronze medal. 11. Bozhentsev from Russia, looking good actually, looking very strong. 47. And one of the lower ranked athletes with respect, Erik Bjornsson, looking comfortable, looking very strong today. APU Nordic Ski Centre athlete. And already that initiative, that determination from Jean-Marc Gaillard is being hauled back quickly by Alex Harvey. Jean-Marc Gaillard, 10th position in Val de Fiemme in the skiathlon. And he's trying to make better his performance than 2 years ago. One of my favorites today, Maurice Magnificat. This is not a strength, the classic part of this skiathlon. But when it comes to freestyle, and as we saw his recent form in Östersund last weekend, 2nd place. Surprisingly for me, Maurice Magnificat, he went back to France, racing in Sweden last weekend, went back home to his wife and child for 3 days just to, as he said, re-energize. And often at the World Championships, there are so many distractions. You're on the same ski tracks every day, you're sticking to rigid timings. With these very soft conditions you can see here, the organizers are restricting the use of the track. There are so many races for the Nordic combined and the men's and the women's competitions. They're only getting 1 hour period each day on the tracks to train. Yesterday was a little better. So to keep away from that stress, Magnificat decided that, well, 3 days at home with the family, get himself centered, recharge his batteries. And as I said earlier, one of my favorites today. Should he not be more than 30 seconds behind in this first part. Well, there's Andrew Musgrave, 23, comfortably with Northug behind him at the moment. And surprised that Northug has allowed a 14-second gap to deficit at this time, but he's keeping an eye on everything. The master technician. He seems to have an incredible instinct, does Petter Northug, and as long as he's around the top 5 with 300 to go, he'll always believe he can win it, and he often does. Well, the pace is still fast, but slowly but surely Alex Harvey has bridged the gap. The gap is no more, the break is no more. Could Alex Harvey capitalize on this and possibly pass Lars Nelson and Gaillard and keep the break alive, keep this pace intense? And quite honestly, having taken part in the sprint competition, most of these athletes in this race today didn't, but Alex Harvey is one of the few who did. It's not a lot of recovery time, just 2 days, and he was out yesterday looking very relaxed, skiing very slow, but smiling, talking, no stress at all. So Alex Harvey in a magic moment, I think, in terms of his ski form. To the left of our screen, 15 is Liivo Niskanen. That easy, upright, classic technique of his. And he doesn't look stressed or pushed at all. Just resting his arms. In these warm temperatures, if you're not taking drink on board, there is potential for a little cramping. but they're experienced, very experienced. I am surprised that there has only been one skiathlon in the race program leading into this World Championships competition, and a lot of the athletes taking part today opting to give that one a miss. It was over in Rybinsk not long after the Tour de Ski, so many athletes taking part in their national championships during that time, and in fact their selection for this competition today. So the pace has changed dramatically, and look at it was a pack of athletes 4 wide. Now it's almost one single file of athletes, and that's always an indication that the pace is intense. And it's managed to separate the best from the rest by quite a margin now. And anybody that believes they've got a chance at the podium needs to be with this pace now, or they can very quickly be left behind. Second time into the stadium, and I'm looking out on a sea of mostly Swedish flags. And of course Nelson at the front, Hellner looking comfortable in there. Kalle Halvorsen went for some early pace change, but decided his best option is to, well, just ride this one out, stay with the pace, and then open his competition when it comes to the freestyle, which they will be doing in one more rotation of this 5-kilometer track. Jean-Marc Gaillard looking comfortable. I wonder if he'll try again to create a break. Maurice Magnificat, maybe the two French boys could work together. Maybe they will in the freestyle. Everyone taking a little pause now, and it's a sensible place for a drink stop. You've had the long descent into the stadium, because often your demand for oxygen, it's some 200 litres a minute you're having to suck in terms of air to feed the body. That's where your energy's coming from, and often you can't take on board your drink. So after the long descent into the stadium, the little climb up onto the bridge, ideal point to take a drink. So Harvey, Nelson, Gaillard, Dierhaug, Baumann from Switzerland. That's the top 5. Liva Niskanen 6, alongside Hellner, Cologne keeping an eye on things in 8th, Belov 9th, and Magnificat in 12th. Welcome back. So the third time around the 5-kilometer in the classic style, and Alex Harvey, he seems so focused here, does Alex Harvey. Great history with his father, having 2 victories here in his World Cup racing career, and all the determination. So many times actually in Alex Harvey's career we've seen him be brave enough, bold enough, or maybe sometimes in the old days for him when he was only 22, 23, he'd go early in a 50-kilometer. Not the wisest thing, and I think he's learned from all of those experiences. Remember in Trondheim he went so early in a 50-kilometer, tried to survive. Great to see Andrew Musgrave in this lead pack now. We've got a definite pack, and the pace is serious. These are the real serious contenders. Ilya Chernusov, we saw him at the back of this pack, and of course he took the bronze medal at the Olympic Games over 50 kilometers. Married this year, he married Selina Gasparin, the silver medalist in biathlon from the Olympic Games. So a bit of a life-changing experience for him, and deciding where to base himself, Russia or Switzerland. Well, 2 options. I know which one I would possibly prefer. There's Petter Northug. Never a threat early on, never a pace leader or changer, but always there. Well, just to inform you, I did see it earlier, the race jury are keeping an eye on this track all the time. It's so warm, they've got great depth of snow, but there are some parts where the water is coming through, and just getting in information, some of the corners, especially in the stadium area, have been salted, and that takes a lot of the damp away. So a sensible decision, I think, on the tight corners. You can just see the snow splashing up there as each pole is planted. And the salt, incredibly, often salt melts snow, of course it does, but it takes the damp through the layer of snow and leaves the top layer quite dry and much firmer. And for those who watched the Olympic Games, every day they were salting. There's Andrew Musgrave looking strong. He's double poling. I'm not sure that's great to see that, in that it maybe indicates his wax isn't working so well at this moment. But he's at the sharp end, exactly where he wants to be. And this is now a definite, decisive and painful break. Well, mentioned earlier, Leivo Niskanen, a little slip there. He's just so efficient, so easy when it comes to the classic technique, less effective in the freestyle. So he's trying to maximize his potential. Per Ellefson, our expert and of course former winner of this World Championship race, as he said, he worked to his strength, which was his pace on the track, to break the others because he didn't have the killer sprint at the end. Musgrave, Andrew Musgrave, 17th position, but only 6.7 seconds behind. He's at the sharp end, and great to see him there. And the British team will be delighted along trackside, giving him all the information. Magnificat, Cologne in the top 10, 4 seconds off the pace. You need to be up here for a chance, a shout at the medal in the top pack. Well, sure, Rota there, struggling. He's had a good season. He's shown a lot of fantastic races, but struggling at the moment. Coaches alongside as we meander our way back down into the stadium. It may look easy. They're having a long and good recovery before the mini murder back in, but it's still not mini. It's a huge climb coming up. Some rise of some 43 meters over a distance of only about 420 meters. That's what's coming up next. Leivo Niskanen beginning to pick the pace up. Alex Harvey deciding to stay with him. And Alex Harvey throughout this race so far for me is looking really strong, really focused. Incredibly, the bookmakers had Alex Harvey down at 40-1, which I find quite phenomenal because he's got the turn of pace. He's got the finish speed. He's got the end game, but he has to last to the end of the race to show that brilliance that he has. For our American fans, it's Eric Bjornsson there up at the sharp end of this race, not quite attached to the lead group, but just marginally behind. Strong and confident young athlete, maturing. His sister races, Sadie races World Cup as well, so a very talented family. Lejanin, the Russian, looking strong, bib number 6, up in 5th position at the moment. And Dotzler there, it's Florian Knott still up with the pace. Well, that was a last-minute grab of a drink there. And you need your plans in place when you're deciding, it's a World Championships, when you're deciding your drink stops. Possibly that was an emergency, a planned drink stop on the hoof, if you like. If an athlete is struggling or feeling they're lowering in terms of fluid, they need to get another drink on board. Lejanin. Now, Lejanin, we often see him giving his best in the skiathlons. Always a threat, but not the ultimate finisher. I do know that he's worked a huge amount this summer on his finish pace, and at the Olympic Games he was just 1/10 of a second off the bronze medal behind Jonsrud Sundby. Cologne took that title that day. Hellner second, 0.4 of a second behind. And that has been the trend with these skiathlons. Tight finishes, not huge margins at all separating the top part of the field. And Alex Harvey still at the front of this, having achieved a silver medal here just a couple of days ago. That's got to have taken some sting out of his performance, but looking magnificently poised for me today, looking one of the strongest. This is the rise, the 43-meter rise, coming towards the top of it now. And a new leader, Turnstedt, he's been there or thereabouts alongside Niskanen now. Gaillard showing throughout this race, Jean-Marc Gaillard, 17, that he's in it to try and win it. His classic not as strong as his freestyle. And he's showing very, very strong today in his classic technique. Well, maybe just a chance to talk about the skis again. We did see them at the start of the race. They are longer than the skis they will pick up very soon. 13.3 achieved, 1.7 kilometers to go to the changeover. The skis are longer. They're much more flexible. You have a waxing pocket, which when you compress all your body weight down, you gain grip. And then when your weight is spread evenly on both skis, that waxing pocket raises up off the snow, allowing you to glide. Depending on your height, the skis, let's say a 6-foot athlete, 1.8 meter, would have a 205 or a 210 meters set of skis, and shorter athletes accordingly, proportionally. In the freestyle, the skis are just bigger than your total height and a much more rigid ski. Chernusov beginning to drop back a little bit, 15 seconds off the pace. Turnsev second in the 15-kilometer in Davos recently, so this is his strength, his strong part. And that was at altitude, of course, at 1,600 meters. You need to be something of a specialized athlete to cope with the thinner air when your demand is so great to suck in the oxygen. Gaia in the middle, beginning in my mind to look like he's struggling, but he'll feel good in the freestyle. Nicholas Dierhaug. And I must say, of course, no Jonsrud Sundby today. He was poised to take part in this race. I know he went back to Oslo for an extended 2 or 3 days break to try and get his recovery and the centering for his performances here, but clearly the decision was made to leave him out of this one. And of course, he's been training Sundby, of course. In fact, the Norwegian team split their training camps. One group at recently, and we're only at 200 meters above sea level here, so it is a massive advantage if you can naturally get your red blood cells increased. So one group of the Norwegians at 2,400 meters, and Jonsrud Sundby living up at 3,000 meters and training, and often that can subdue your performances for up to 18 days when you come back down off those altitudes. But clearly he got the advice, the best advice, but I'm not sure it's actually worked for him. It might work for the 50-kilometer at the end of these competitions, and of course the relay. And I would certainly love to see Jonsrud Sundby back at the races. Of course, he's leading the overall World Cup standing for the men, leading by some margin, 1,211 points ahead of Cologne with 876. Well, I can tell you we've had some athletes pull out already. Dolidovic, the Belarusian, has pulled out. Sayad, the Iranian athlete who qualified, has pulled out. Callum Watson didn't start, actually. Well, what's going to happen next? I'll tell you what will happen that we're sure about, and that is that the skis will be changed, the poles will be changed, the same boots will remain, and new skis will be picked up. Coming into the stadium with 15 kilometers complete, and the race is quite strung out. We've got a line of athletes, 25, 27 in this lead group, getting the final rest or opportunity to suck in as much oxygen as possible before they pick up their skating skis. Well, the big names, most of the big names are in this lead part of the race. Bib 22 just gone past there. He's led it for some. He's further back now, but in 8th place it's Nelson. 12 is in there. All the big names are still here. 2 looking so easy. Yevgeny Belov, 3rd overall in the Tour de Ski. His form dropped off a little after that. Then he came back in Rybinsk for the 15-kilometer free, and he placed 2nd there. That shows Belov's strengths. Even numbers to the right, odd numbers to the left. You've got to get your pit stop just right. They've been rehearsing and practicing. So you go wide off your new skis, you unclip, get your foot in place. It can be often a little panicked. Making it look very easy. Alex Harvey. Can Harvey capitalise? He's with Gaillard, Belov, Cologne's there. He's never been out of the top 10. Dierhaug, Polterainen, Hellner, Lejanin, all these big finishers, big names. Heikkinen, Northug's there, Musgrave, brilliant, 8 seconds behind. Chernusov, the Olympic bronze medalist, over 50. The big names are in the hunt. Some new names as well. Great to see Baumann in that group. Yoshida, fantastic for Japan. Sheminov, 23 seconds behind in 22nd place, the Belarusian. We've got a definite lead group of some 19 athletes. Rahima from Estonia is one of those. Slightly detached, he's finding himself at the moment. Is our German athlete, and needs to try and pick up the pace, but the body feels suppressed as you go into these freestyle skis. Well, there we are, confirmation. Halverson, 7.5. As you see your favourites there, we're going to a very quick break, but we'll come straight back with the action here at the World Champions and the skiathlon. Welcome back, and I can just inform you that the pace hasn't really backed off. Alex Harvey deciding to capitalise on his ease at which he seemed to take the first 15 kilometres. There was a break early on, and it was down. It was as much as 17 seconds, and Alex Harvey decided he can't allow that break to happen. He was the athlete who pulled everybody back, and he really hasn't been out of that top bracket. Great to see Andrew Musgrave ahead of Petter Northug, who right now looks like he's beginning to struggle. Alex Harvey's really hit this hard. The changeover, often your body needs to, in my opinion, take 2 or 3 kilometers to find the rhythm in skating. Heavy legs, comparable to, well, a race in the running fashion, and then jumping onto a heavy geared bike. That is the kind of feeling that your legs get, and your arms as well. It's a different compression through the arms. They're alternating in the classic style, but it's almost a double pulling, an offset double pulling action up this steep terrain. Yevgeny Belov at the World Championships 2 years ago, 11th in this race, and he has stated he's wanting much better this time around. The big Russian names are in this lead pack, and I must say this course profile is very different. You can see already we're coming to what's called as Mörderbacken, Killer Hill as it's known, and it's an extreme. There is no race course like this. 65-meter rise in one hit, and I can assure you it's an incredible hill. This camera from this angle doesn't quite give its pain, but it goes from basically the height of the stadium to the base of the ski jump. Well, Alex Harvey, wonderful easy technique that he has there, transferring his weight left and right, and you can see, well, there we are right down in the stadium in the background at 16.3 kilometers. That's only 1.3 they've traveled, firstly and out into the woods, and now this major climb which they'll come up 3 times in this race. Some athletes beginning to struggle. I think that's Leivo Niskanen. In fact, it's Matti Heikkinen. There he is in blue. A lot of rotation there alongside him. Andrew Musgrave, brilliant Muzzy. Keep the good work up. 13th position, 10.5 seconds behind ahead of Niskanen. Oshentsev, Poltarainen. This is a test. Alex Harvey is putting the pace on very early with still some 13 kilometers to go. He's made his presence known, and he's made the pain be felt all the way down the line. Belov looking quite easy in second place. Bib number 5, it's Niklas Dierhaug, brought in quite late in the Norwegian team. He was second to Petter Northug on the 31st of January. National Championships in this event, the skiathlon. So Dierhaug certainly very strong, 13th in Sochi, but that was at the pre-Olympic Games. That was 2013. So the man from Trondheim looking very strong in 3rd place at the moment. This is thankfully, as soon as you get to this part, you've just climbed and climbed for 2 minutes 45. Now you get a huge amount of recovery time, in my opinion, around this section many times yesterday. In the wet snow, actually, you can be caught out. The skis press quite deeply into this corner, so as the race goes on, you need your concentration level so high to prevent some mistakes in this wet, soft snow. speed of some 47 actually today kilometers an hour, dropping off that high point. Now, I think a decisive moment for Alex Harvey. Not the best place is to be leading at this stage. Where's Gaia? There he is, in fact, 4th place. I thought we'd see, in fact, there he is, number 7. I thought we'd see Maurice Magnificat. His strength is the freestyle. He's not an out-and-out finisher when it comes to the sprint finish, but great to see him in the top bracket at this time. That's exactly where he'd wanted to be after his less strong aspect being the classic technique. Wonderful aerial shot again. Another chance for some of the athletes to pick up a drink. Now, I think that, well, Alex Harvey knows best. What an athlete, but I think he needs to keep the pace on, or somebody does, or there's going to be more connection from further back, more athletes joining this lead group. Come on, Muzzy, stick with it. He's in there, Andrew Musgrave for Great Britain, ahead of Petter Northug, and in the lead pack, the all-important lead pack. So hard to bridge the gap once the gap has been created. Polterainen looking like he's becoming more and more detached after 48 minutes of racing. So this profile is quite different to the track they've been around on the classic technique. Some of the sections actually match up, and we'll see the cut tracks for the classic. There they are, in fact, up this section, but mostly this section running alongside the freestyle and the classic. As Andrew Musgrave is up at the sharp end here, is a chance to say hello to Betty and the 90s club up in Huntly, who absolutely have followed Andrew, the two Andrews careers. Andrew Young, of course, and Andrew Musgrave. And Andrew Young not racing today, will be racing again at these championships. So the 90s club will be giving a huge amount of support at the moment, because there he is, Muzzy, bib 27, at the sharp end of this race. Muzzy with his 13th position in Lillehammer in the 10 kilometers, and 15th last weekend over 15 kilometers in the freestyle. Well, you can just sense we're coming towards the closing part of the first rotation of 5 kilometers, with 10 kilometers to go when they then come back through the stadium. Well, I thought we might have more in the lead group, almost skiing side by side, but Alex Harvey has destroyed this field. His pace, his leadership, his ability to forget about everyone else, run his own race, but he's led an awful lot of it. Petter Northug, the ultimate hunter, is still back in 9th, 10th position. He's taken nothing of the work on. We never expect him to in these mass start competitions, but he is the ultimate finisher. And I really would love to see Alex Harvey challenge for that gold medal today. I'm sure we will. What a wonderful technique from Alex Harvey. Now we're into this, which was the sprint race part of the track now. We can see it from the commentary booths. Everyone in the stadium can see this part of the course, and we're climbing back up, halfway up the distance of the ski jump hill again, having dropped all the way down to the stadium. How to test these athletes. 504 meters climbed in the classic. There's Muzzy right now. Brilliant, looking easy, looking comfortable. 504 meters climbed already in the classic style, and 549 meters in the freestyle. Over 1,050 meters climbed. Andrew Musgrave, bib 27. Just for those taking an interest, and let's hope this is his best ever performance at the World Championships. There he is in the background, Andrew Musgrave, bib 27. Petter Northug in behind him. Alex Harvey throughout this race looking so comfortable. 2 Norwegians tucked in behind him. Dear how. Here comes Colonia at the races, but not at the front. Here comes Northug saying, hey, I'm still here, and it's easy. He's got an incredible ability to change gear, to move from 20th to 10th in an instant like no other. There hasn't been a Petter Northug before who has this incredible ability to sprint to change pace and to win so many races. I think for the first time he was beginning to get a he was beginning to get a name until 2 years ago at Val di Fiemme at the World Championships, because he'd never really won a time trial. That's when it's only you against the clock in the classic technique. So at the World Championships 2 years ago, he destroys the field in the 15-kilometer classic World Championship. So the reigning world champion over 15 kilometers. Hellner, like many, at the sharp end, but taking none of the pace on. Grabbing another drink there, Hellner, just keeping himself hydrated. These athletes over this 30 kilometers will lose in terms of weight close to 2 kilograms. A lot of that is in fluid loss. You exhale a lot of that as well, so vital to keep the fluids high. Some athletes taking on board as much as a litre in an hour. that's 1 kilogram, but as I say, they're losing 1.75 to 2 kilos of weight. So through the stadium, we have this lead group of some 14 athletes, and then there's detachment, individual strays trying to hang on in there. Would love to bridge that gap, then it becomes a little easier. 17 athletes at the top. Andrew Musgrave, 13th position. Heikkinen just in behind him. Well, 2 more rotations underway of the 5-kilometer freestyle track to go, and we'll take another very quick break and back with the action here in Falun very soon. Welcome back to the action here, the World Championship Skiathlon, 66 lined up together some 55 minutes ago. We're down to 17 who want to fight it out for the medals at the front, and I think at this stage in the race, anyone detached now does not have a chance to make it back into this group. The pace which Alex Harvey has set has been quite exceptional. 55 minutes, as I say, he's travelling just under 18 kilometres an hour as we come up. We're rising up at this stage, and then a little descent now. Cologne throughout has looked composed. Hardly been out of the top 5. He's kept an eye on everything. He's reacted to everything that's happened ahead of him. Alex Harvey carrying great speed down into this left-hander, and now it's this ridiculous climb again. A huge climb. There's only one World Cup or World Championship course which has one like this, and it's here, and it's very special. It's the feature, the characteristic of this track. So they hit the base of this hill at 55 minutes and 40 seconds. Alex Harvey skate touring, or double dancing as the Norwegians call it, where you're compressing the poles and one leg at the same time. Now he's into the paddling technique, as the Norwegians call it, or the skate one. There's for the first time Hellner flexing his muscles, the slender light body weight of Hellner. I thought this hill suits him, and he's beginning to test the field. I think the next time round is where the fireworks will really take off on this hill. Hellner's testing them out, and there's Andrew Musgrave still with this lead group, but let's be honest, the pace has picked up. The pace has really began to hurt most of this dedicated lead group of 17. Hellner making it look easy. Behind him, hardly out of breath, Yevgeny Belov. Belov was 58 seconds behind in Östersund last weekend. Hellner, Olympic silver medalist, just behind Cologne on that day by 0.4 of a second. Sundby was third on that day, but Sundby hasn't made the Norwegian selection. How does Hellner make this hill look so easy? I can assure you this hill is ridiculously steep. Mentioned earlier in the women's race, it was like going up the... Well, there's Musgrave in 12th place. You need to stay with it. Muzzy at 9.8 seconds behind. I think he will. I think he will. He's just got to keep this pace going. This is just a taster for Hellner to see who can handle it, who can take the pace. And, well, he's decided that that is good enough to separate. There's Petter Northug, not done and dusted yet. Number 3, there is Kalle Halvarsson. So Hellner is hurting, without a doubt, his teammate Halvarsson. Certainly one of my favourites today. I've got a big asterisk beside Halvorsen. He's a good finisher. In fact, I had 8 favourites, and they're all in this group. Cologne, Halvorsen, Northug, Dierhaug, Lejanin actually wanting at the moment. Turnseth in there, Hellner in there. And of course, with Muzzy and Andrew Musgrave in 13th position at World Championships, undoubtedly this will be the best ever result from a British cross-country skier. There's Northug, the ultimate hunter. He doesn't look stressed at the moment in terms of worried that the pace is picking up. There's Andrew Musgrave. I did mention that the track becomes more and more broken, and you've got to be very careful down that descent at 45, 50 kilometers an hour. Now, after all that work, you get a chance to recover, and I think Marcus Hellner knows better than most. He's having a look over what damage has he done. He's done a lot of damage. He was just thinking, where's my friend but main rival, Petter Northug? Well, there he is. There's Northug, as ever, making it look easy, and you just sense that Northug is going to come through with 200 meters to go, but he has to live with the pace. Hellner sensibly trying to take the sting out of him and trying to break it down. Northug 7.4 seconds behind. Musgrave, we saw him there over the bridge, just a little detached now. Let's just hope that he can haul this back in. A broken stick there, or a problem certainly from Didrik Turnseth. Didn't see what happened. Oh, unless he was sorry, just indicating that he does want one of his drinks. Petter Northug certainly does. Now, does that give Hellner a chance to break away? Belov is thinking, right, now's the time to keep this pace strong because Northug's had a drink stop. But there he is, always hunting, watching. Difficult moment now for Andrew Musgrave, just keeping an eye on what's ahead of him. He knows he has to try and close this gap, but running in 13th position is quite remarkable. Now, Lejanin, normally the distance man, he's had a lot of good results. Second in the Olympic 50 kilometer, 8th in Val di Fiemme, classic mass start. But Belov is still in there. 2 of the Russians, Cologne, ever watching what's happening. Is Hellner going to decide that he's going to smash the pace again up this next climb? Hellner, well, he's around about 6 foot, so 1.8 meters. Very light, though. We've seen that over many Olympics. When it comes to steep hills, he's one of the strongest. But at all times, Nicolas Dierhaug has been following him. There's the 2 French boys. I thought they might take some initiative. What's going through Petter Northug's mind? Number 3, Kalle Halvorsen, just checking who's still at the races. Muzzy just been a little bit lost at the races during this phase. He's going through a bad moment in this competition. You're still recovering from that mammoth climb, but the bad news is get ready to go back up it again. 5-kilometer track here, coming into the stadium soon before heading out for the final time. Well, what a race we have. It's been changeable. The pace has been quite severe. Alex Harvey decided that he's going to make it hard early on, and I think that's his strategy, to try and take the sting out of Petter Northug's finish, the ultimate finisher in cross-country skiing over the last 8-10 years. Northug still with it. Alex Harvey skis, all the North Americans, the Canadians will be delighted. His skis are running so well, and Alex Harvey will take this on board for next time around, when, more importantly, it's coming up to the finish. 1 hour and 2 minutes. Look at this next climb. So we've dropped to the stadium height. We're climbing halfway up the ski jump hill again. Alex Harvey seems to have slowed it down, allowing Northug to make good contact with his group. Although I'm looking up the hill from the commentary position, and Northug at the back. But what's that? 3 white suits of the Norwegians. Maxim Vlejanin, always there. And so often caught out in these races, caught out in the last part of the races. But he's here today, and he's trying to make his presence felt. I think he's going to have to go and break early, to be quite honest, in this last rotation coming up. And 4 times Vlejanin has been in second position at the World Championships or at major competitions, so he wants to put that ghost behind him. Of course, 4th in the Olympic Games in this event at home in Russia for Vlejanin. That was, as he said, that was one of the most painful moments in his sporting career. Andrew Musgrave in the distance, you can see, come on Muzzy, it's slowing down, you'll get back in. Alex Harvey seems to have slowed it down, and I think Alex Harvey's delighted his skis are gliding so well that he's confident the next time around will be where he makes his break. Hellner's bound to maybe have different views on that, and I think Hellner's going to put in an incredible turn of pace on the last 5, early on in the last 5. Nobody wants to lead it. Well, let's have a look at ski glide. Certainly Alex Harvey, for me, is the best ski glide. Northugs are good. Gaillard standing up, his are that good. He doesn't want to ski into the athlete ahead of him. Of course, there is the slipstreaming effect as you're tucked in behind the athlete ahead of you. Now, what a race. What a fantastic World Championships range. Jean-Marc Gaillard in there. Maurice Magnificat, 2 Frenchmen in there, 1 Swiss. Of course, that's the great Dario Cologna. Such a cool customer, nice guy, Mr. Nice, as opposed to Northug. Well, the press, the Norwegians still love him, but he's controversial, shall we say, Petter Northug, but respected by everybody. But of course, Northug has the ultimate sprint speed. Can he do it today? Alex Harvey alongside him just 2 days ago for the silver medal in the sprint competition. How these two are not so tired. Petter Northug moving so fast forward. Is he showing off to the crowd? Is he showing off to the rest? Is he saying to everybody, this is easy? So Petter Northug, in an instant, from last in this group to the front to first. Look at the cornering here, it's so wet. 40 millimeters wide, these skis, there's no width at all, so you press right through this deep and wet snow. Well, this is a picture of composure, steely determination, but he needs a plan. Now Kalle Halvorsen, what has happened? He's lost one of his ski poles. I don't know what he was doing there, Halvorsen, but he's lost a little few meters. Andrew Musgrave, he's such a tough guy, is Andrew, and he's realizing the pace has backed off a little, and he's desperately trying to get back in the slipstream. He needs to, if he wants to try and challenge and give Muzzy a chance to get in for the sprints. And I certainly had him down for a top 15 and a top 10 on a good day today for Andrew Musgrave. And he's up there, he's at the very sharp end at the World Championships, 12th position. And some 10 seconds behind. So, well, the athletes don't get a chance to get their breath back, that's a certainty, but a chance for a quick breather before. Well, it was Halvorsen struggling with a ski pole. They took forever. Where were the servicemen or his backup team? He's been trying to get that spare pole for over a kilometre. Today, a big moment for the Swiss here. Would be a chance for the Swedes, of course, at home. Chance for their first gold medal in this competition. Stina Nielsen in the sprints took the silver, and Charlotte Kalla earlier today in the women's skiathlon, the bronze. Can they do one better in this race? Has Marcus Hellner got the key to that door of success, or has Kalle Halvorsen? Now he's got a new ski pole. And poor old Muzzy just struggling at the back. And look at Halvorsen, he was in this pack until I think it was the basket, the end of his ski pole, that snapped off. Carbon fibre, if you get knocked by an athlete beside you, the edge of their ski can easily snap your ski pole. Petter Northug now beginning to let his presence be felt. He's always been running at 10th to 14th position. He's now up into 7th, 8th position. And throughout all of this, the man in black, Dario Cologna, the Swiss athlete, has done nothing. He's been there, he's just comfortably been in the action. There is Cologne in the middle. The pace is beginning to pick up again, without a doubt. I thought Hellner would try and put in an attack, but it's Dario Cologne. Dario Cologne hiding for 1 hour 8, and now he's beginning to test the pack out. Where's Alex Harvey on the left side trying to go with it? I'm not sure the pack are beginning to think that this is it. This is the moment in the race, because you've got that second climb back up Murderbacken, little baby Murderbacken, and that's in the stadium area. So Vlegianin decided that this is decisive and he needs to stick with it. Marcus Hellner can't stick with it. Alex Harvey can't. He's trying. The pace is phenomenal. Dario Cologne, he knows he can do it. He proved he can do it at the Olympic Games last year, and once again the cream is floating to the top. And at the World Championships 2 years ago, Cologne, well, does he want another gold in this competition? Of course he does. And this is him attacking and attacking, realizing that it's breaking the rest. He's trying to take this initiative. Therese Johaug said earlier she had the same plan, but it nearly killed her leg. She said she was on survival by this point. 26.3 in the men's race. This hill goes on and on and on. The demand for oxygen, screaming for oxygen. Oh, bib number 7 just dropping back a little there. Maurice Magnificat. Alex Harvey, where are you? 8 seconds to find. Cologne, Vlegianin, the only World Cup skiathlon this year. They were first and second, and on that day it was Vlegianin by 2.7 seconds. Oh, bridging the gap with apparent ease. It's Norway's Tønseth. He always said, give me a chance at a major and I'll provide for you. He has provided in the past in relay competitions at World Cup for gold medals, but this could be his day. What a race. 1 hour and 10 minutes, and Dario Cologne, hiding in that lead pack for all of the race, decided to test the rest. And well, only 2 of them could pass his test. He needs to keep the pressure on. Look at the separation. Have we got the gold, silver and bronze? Possibly. Where is Northug? Northug not here at the moment. It's I think it's Jean-Marc Gaillard here in 4th. It's certainly not over yet. This chasing group could come back. The legs certainly in the lead group. The 3 who went with that pace have got to be absolutely numbed at the moment. Well, Dario Cologne, they brought this race in to test the ultimate cross-country skier. Freestyle came in 1985 to the World Championships. Had always been classic prior to then. By 1990 they said, let's find the ultimate cross-country skier. And right now it's Dario Cologne. And can you believe it? The first World Championships ever for Didrik Tønseth. And he's in 3rd position. Alex Harvey in the senior level, of course. Tønseth having completed junior championships and shown his credentials. Well, Dario Cologne, it's certainly not over yet. There's still the little climb in the stadium. I say little, it's only little compared to the big Murderbacken they've just been up, but an opportunity now. This has got to be Maurice Magnificat. It is. He was second fastest just on Sunday last week in a World Cup 15-kilometer. Dragging with him is Alex Harvey, just desperately trying to survive, trying to make contact. Alex Harvey is a great finisher, but he needs to be at the front. Come on, Alex Harvey. Be so good to see him at the front. Where's Petter Northug? Petter Northug, not this time, surely not this time, unless there's a fall at the sharp end. There's Northug. Well, they've got him as 4th position. He's certainly not 4th at the moment, but 17 behind. That was the last time of asking. Some athletes being lapped at the moment. They will be pulled out. Dario Cologne once again needs to find the incredible drive that he has. Vlegianin has not let him out of his sights, has not let him get more than 3 meters ahead. So coming in towards the stadium area, but remember there's still that little Omega, the climb that we saw if you were with us 2 days ago in the sprint races. It's a severe climb. Number 9, Alex Harvey. Come on, Alex Harvey. Try and bridge this gap. Could this be a miracle finish from Alex Harvey? But he needs to make contact. Every fibre in his body is trying to push him, push and push to get into that top 3. Alex Harvey just somewhat 40 metres behind the lead three for the medals. Magnificat is exhausted and almost stumbling over on his skis. So we spin down to the left. This is another chance for recovery. Alex Harvey, your fast skis need to bring you back into this lead three for a chance of another medal in Falun at the World Championships. Magnificat is still there or thereabouts. Surely this gap is too big now. The medals are to be contended by the five at the front. Petter Northug, not this time. Not at the Olympics last year. And I don't think he is a miracle maker when it comes to sprint finishes. But surely this is too much at this late stage for Petter Northug. Under the bridge. Oh, another chance. They're all thinking, I need recovery for this final blast. It's got to be a blast, an attack up this final climb. And who's it going to be? Vlechanin? Cologne? Well, Cologne, composed, ice cool. Oh, stumble, you don't want to stumble. It turns set there. And Alex Harvey, the glide power from the Canadian. Now we want to see the hill climbing power from Alex Harvey. Few athletes can turn such a deficit around at this stage in a 30-kilometre race. Alex Harvey back in the medal count, back in the top four. Cologne, just looking out my window, Alex Harvey's going very wide to the left. Cologne got the best line on the inside. Vlechanin trying to stay with it. Turnseth always with it. And Maurice Magnificat from France, the lead Frenchman, in fifth position. He's trying to get back in. Cologne looking over his shoulder. And Alex Harvey couldn't quite stay with it. All that effort to close the gap has taken something out of him, but he has a great glide on those skis. Maybe, just maybe, he can make it back in again. 50 kilometres, 52 kilometres an hour down this descent. The track's broken up, their legs are exhausted, they need to be careful. Little stumble there from Harvey, Turnseth losing space. Vlechanin deciding this could be his day. So many fourth positions. Put that to rest by winning the gold today for himself, for Russia. Oh, he got almost, his ski pole got, I think it got skied over by Cologne, but he's back, he's dancing up the hill again. He's not the perfect finisher, he doesn't have the sprint, he knows it, and he needed some 10 metres, I think, at the top of that rise. Well, the final stage is just this right-hander. Vlechanin looking exhausted, his legs not feeling much as he took that right-hander. We've got the left-hander and then the glide. It's Vlechanin at the front, Cologne nearly falling on that bend. So Vlechanin from Russia leading, Cologne second, Diederik Turnseth third, and Alex Harvey's got to try and find something incredibly special, and I think he can, to move up from fourth, certainly into the medals. And poor old Magnificat put so much work in, he's detached. Vlechanin putting in an attack, Cologne trying to live with it. Over onto the classic tracks that came up earlier, cutting the bridge, find Turnseth still there. Alex Harvey trying to find something, but he's always a cool customer in this last 200. Safely down the descent, 200 metres to go. At the moment it's Russia at the front. Cologne trying to turn that around, trying to find something special. Vlechanin with so many fourth positions in his career, he's desperate for the gold medal today, and I think he's going to achieve it. Cologne, not quite. Gold to Russia, silver to Cologne, Switzerland. Alex Harvey through into third place. What an amazing athlete. Silver in the sprint competition, and today bronze. How did he do that? And poor old Turnseth just didn't quite have it at the end for Norway, fourth position. Magnificat fifth, and led so much early on. And unfortunately for the Swedes, it's Halvorsen as the best in sixth place. No more medals today in the cross-country skiing in Falun for Sweden. And well, Hellner, he tried, but he tried on the second rotation, and he found that he was strong, but the distance wore him out. Wow, well, I'm very happy for Maxim Vlechanin. He's kept away from a lot of the races this year, and he did win the only World Cup this year at this distance of this competition. Well, you just saw there in slow motion the stumble from Dario Cologne around the final fast descent, and I think that could have cost him today. But of course his legs were like jelly because he had done so much of the attack early on. And there's Alex Harvey for Canada with a silver medal and now a bronze medal. And Petter Northug wanted it, but not strong enough today. Andrew Musgrave, what a performance today once again. 12th, he's at a 15th, a 13th, and now at the World Championships, Musgrave taking the best ever position at a cross-country World Championships with a 12th position, and he did so well. 130 behind, and just that final stage from 26, 27 kilometres onwards was where the hurt just became a little much, uncomfortable. Well, there they are, 30 kilometres achieved. Well, Sheminov coming in there, it's still a good position, 18th position. Clara, 17th position, and Backscheider, I think a very promising prospect from France there. He did win the national championships last year over this distance in this fashion. So as some of the tail enders, Babikov, second Canadian through there, 23rd position. Yeah, Legkov, so many times the second man at these major championships, but now at last he's reached the top to take this skiathlon today. Well, and today Legsjanin puts all the ghosts of past championships behind. He was second in the 50 kilometre. Of course, at the Olympic Games, the World Championships, he's at second over 50 kilometre. And over 30 kilometre, the skiathlon, he's at a second place. 2009, he's had second place in the 50 kilometre. So yes, 2011, twice second place in this race, and over the 50 kilometre as well. Now, at last, he's the champion.
Congratulations, please tell us about your race. I'm so glad that I won today.
Well, there he is, the champion. So many second places. He's also had so many fourth places at the majors, at the Olympics last year, fourth in this competition. But he's put that to rights now. All those ghosts of past competition are behind him. So Legsjanin, Colonia to the line, 0.4 of a second behind, and Alex Harvey, having been detached, amazingly managed to bridge the gap again to take Canada, to take Alex Harvey into the bronze medal position. Didrik Tunseth, his first major in the senior category, in fourth place. Well, there's the sprint, and Colonia not quite able to find it. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that competition. Ski jumping coming up next. Do join us again tomorrow at the World Championships here in Falun. And well done to Legsjanin.